Welcome, Chris Evans TV vlog. We are back, another episode here. And what I thought I would do is film a training Q&A. So on my Instagram, I posted a Q&A. I'm going to fill the first 10 questions that I got. So I have those all pulled up on my computer. You can see the inside of my office. We have John, we have Dennis Rodman, and the legendary Jay Cutler's quad stomp. So what I thought I would start here really quickly is I posted on my story how they're finding out that Chobani yogurt is adding things to their yogurt. And I love it because I was on the forefront of this movement. I was telling people, for the last 2 years, stop eating yogurt. It is not an incredible protein source like everyone pushes it to be in all these healthy recipes of pancakes and waffles and muffins and brownies, all made with yogurt. Like, stop it, throw it in the trash. Because what I've always found is the people that eat and consume yogurt regularly, they're softer, they're fatter, and they have tons of inflammation. When we cut that, all that stops. So I don't care what anyone says. I'm sorry, I'm not a believer in yogurt. So I just thought I would start here with that little quick Q&A. You notice it's not Q&A, a quick tidbit of information, because I know this is technically a training Q&A and I'm starting with a nutrition piece. But if that's you out there and you're doing yogurt regularly and you're like, man, like my digestive system just feels off, cut it out. Put in protein powder. That's a good whey isolate. Put in, and that's because most people do it because it's convenient and fast, right? Which is why I started with the protein powder. Now, what I prefer, egg whites, chicken breast, turkey breast, fish, tuna, much better options in my opinion. So let's get into these questions and hopefully I'll give you all some answers and insights inside my brain. And again, know that this is just my opinion at this current state, and it may all change in the future. So question number 1, is there any exercises that are complete waste of energy and people are still doing? Yes, weighted side bends, where you hold dumbbells in both hands and just side bend right and left. I think those are absolutely pointless. Honestly, at this point in my training career, I would say for most people, outside of pure activation, like a cable kickback is pretty useless because it's so light. So unless you're looking to activate your glutes, that's another exercise that for the most part I'm going to throw in the garbage. I'm trying to think if there are any others that jump out at me. Yes, you know the shrugs where you roll like this? Trash. Stop it. Waste of time. And then the last one, I'll give you a little bonus one. The wrist curls where you're doing like flexing, extending. Garbage. I'm sorry. It's just, those are trash to me. I'd much rather spend time. If I'm going to work grip strength, which I do with football players, with wrestlers, is we'll do like towel pull-ups, we'll do farmer carries. We'll just not use straps. We'll use grip force when doing our rows, our curling, because that's going to train our grip and give us added benefit. Where the wrist curls, like, I mean, how much weight do you have on there? Like maybe a quarter at most. Where I could load up a normal guy who's you figure a linebacker with 3 plates on a farmer's carry and just have him work. Chalk on his hands, squeeze them, go. So, yep, those are all some useless exercises that I see people doing. Do you do tibia raises with kettlebells? No, I've never done that. Luckily, the gym that I go to at Elite has a tibia machine. It's on the front side of a Sornex seated calf raise. And then when I was at Gold's before that and I didn't have access to that piece, I simply took a short orange, like thick band, not the skinny one, but the thick one, the short one, and put that around the end of a calf block, put my toes underneath the top portion of the band and just raised against that. So I always found that to be better. It didn't, I would think that unless you have really thick shoes on, those kettlebell raises to get them heavy enough would just kill the bones in my feet. And to me, a band is just a better option. It's going to give us better attention. Do you have any YouTube videos on alternates to wide stance belt squats? Not specifically, but if you go look at, and I'll put this in the description, it's alternatives to adductor. It's going to give you some options, but just low-hanging fruit here, in my opinion. Wide stance leg press, wide stance regular squats with either a yoke bar or a barbell. That's going to be your best options or bet if you don't have a belt squat to be able to do those on. Now, in a perfect world, I love that because it's not spinal loaded. You could also do this in the Smith machine. So when I say a wider stance, a lot of people think like I'm like way out here. No, it's just a little bit wider than hip width, and then toes are out, sink them deep to work our adductors. So I never like to get crazy with the spacing. Like you'll see a lot of people like go really, really wide. It might as well be a split, and they run into like hip impingement issues. So I'm not a fan of that at all. And that will take a little bit of playing around with, because most people don't have the flexibility in the hips to go really wide like that anyways. At what point does pre-workout become your personality traits, or a personality trait? That's a pretty great question. I think about the evolution of pre-workouts for me, and I used to love really high stem. And honestly, that was just me wanting to chase like a high, right? And as I discovered that highest stem tends to be a vasoconstrictor, meaning it makes your blood vessels actually contract as opposed to expand, I really began to pull back on the caffeine. And I found that it leads to better pumps, better workouts. So now my pre-workout of choice all day long is 1/2 scoop, so a half scoop, not 1.5, a half scoop of GX pre-workout by Granite. And then I do a full heaping scoop, so it's really rounded, of Vasoblast, which is going to be our non-stem pre-workout. So it's got all the things that are going to drive pump into my muscle, and that's what I chase personally. So for me, that's what I'm always about. Quick little side note and rant here. I see so many people in the gym walking around with energy drinks while they train, and this just never makes sense. And if you've listened to Dave and I on the podcast, we make joke and make fun of these people, because oh, awesome, you're drinking an energy drink while you train. So when you get in the car, it's going to kick in for your ride home. A pre-workout is supposed to be taken before the training, so that when you start training for your first hard set of the day, that should be fully kicked in. So think about the timing of your energy pre-workout. It doesn't matter if it's coffee and espresso. I mean, again, any type of pre-workout, you want it to hit while you're training, not after on the ride home, because then it's useless. Still no shoulder press. When would you add it in? For me, I'm never going to add it in. I wore that out to exhaustion and saw very little progress. Now, do I think becoming great at dumbbell shoulder pressing helped and had carryover for making my incline dumbbell press better? 1000%. So I do think there was some use to it early in my bodybuilding. Now that I'm in the second half, or the tail end of bodybuilding, I see no reason for me to ever shoulder press. I get all the growth and stimulus I need out of side and rear laterals, band pull apart, spider crawls, things like that. So then I still heavy chest press, and I think that always will help build the front delt. And I think a lot of the rowing that I do also help build the rear delt, especially if you have a pronated grip. So I really challenge you out there, if you aren't good at performing rear and side laterals, that's really holding your training back. When would you add it in? I would say if you're trying it my style for 2 years and you see no growth, then I would definitely add it back in. I think if you're in the first 5 to 8 years of your training life, you should have a shoulder press in there. And I would probably set that up a little different. So if you're doing chest and shoulders, how I would probably do that is I would go chest press, shoulder press, chest fly, lateral. So 7 exercises is how I'd set it up. So if you're only doing it on the same day. Now, if you are that horrible with shoulders, meaning they're underdeveloped, I have no issue starting all with shoulder. So I always I'm going to start with a rear delt, then I'll go shoulder press, then I go with side lateral, and then I might even do a second shoulder press before getting into my chest. So that's a scenario where if someone has very underdeveloped shoulders and a very overpowered chest. And then also the third option there could be, you have a full-on shoulder day where you train nothing but shoulders, and you go rear lateral, press, side lateral, press, rear lateral, side lateral, done. So that's what it would look like for shoulder pressing. And then athletes, I believe, should have a shoulder press in there. So if you fall in that category. The detail in Scorpion is insane. Is Sub-Zero and Reptile like that? Yes. And I only laugh because Scorpion is like the base. It's like the first one. And then I build and get better with Sub-Zero. Then I build and get better with Reptile. And then I just finished writing Johnny Cage. And the amount of detail in there is ridiculous. I am so proud of these last two. And I'm actually working personally through Baraka right now. That's what I'm personally training on. But Reptile and Johnny Cage are next level detail. And to say that I've elevated the second two as opposed to the first two would be an understatement. So it just continues to get better. But thank you for recognizing that. Like I said, from day one, I have put my heart and soul into these programs, and there is no doubt that I'm proud of them. And I believe in my heart, like, they are the best training programs on the fucking internet right now. Like, period. You will not find more detail, video examples, my thoughts, my effort, what I expect out of you. And to me, it's why everyone who's doing them are growing like weeds. And I say everyone that's doing them, I know, I'm sure there's a portion of people out there who have failed. And they're like, man, this is too much for me. And if this is too much for you, I really challenge, like, how little you're eating. You need to increase your food intake, and you need to increase your recovery rates. And we do that through sleeping, through rest. We do massage, chiropractic, foam roll, stretching, mobility work. So again, if that's you out there, like, well, it's too much for me, I would just really challenge you to check here and to check here. What is the best for calves, seated or standing calf raises? You know, I actually had this question from one of my clients a couple weeks ago, and I think it doesn't matter. I think there's definitely a genetic component to calves, and if you have genetically good calves, I don't think it matters. If you have poor calf development, you want to improve it, I think you should do both. It's not a matter of which one is better, it's that we need both. And I'm even a fan of, like, doing some single leg calf work and then pairing that with tibia. So if I really was obsessed with calf training and I wanted to bring them up big time, I would do standing, I would do seated, then I would do a standing one leg supersetted with tibia raise. Would take me probably 15, 20 minutes. I do that once or twice a week. Also have a really cool video on my YouTube where it's like a full calf program. So it's lays out full 3 days a week of training for calves if you really want to bring them up if they're underdeveloped. So maybe check that out. Another great option there. Do you ever do shrugs? No. I haven't done shrugs in years. It's really interesting. When John started pulling those out of his program, I simultaneously was starting to get some, like, neck impingement issues when I would do heavy shrugs with him or in one of his programs, and he was finding the same thing. So I'm never going to lose a bodybuilding show because of upper trap. So I don't do any shrugs anymore. I think it's a muscle that gets hit indirectly. I think that if you're on super sups, gear, whatever you want to call that, I think they will be just fine. I am really excited to try and build in a new form of a kelso shrug that I saw on Instagram yesterday that I'm going to try on Friday. But I do like kelso shrugs, and that's more for mid and low trap, which is down the middle of our back. So not the upper trap that you see visibly from the front. So I do kelso shrugs, and I like kelso shrugs for thickness of the back, but I do not do the traditional shrug. But if you were going to do them because your traps are lacking, all day long, like a 3-second contraction. So you drive up, 1, 2, 3, and then down. If you notice, I went straight up, straight down. I didn't do that rolling stuff. It's straight up, and then down from a dead stop. Because what you have to remember is a shrug is such a short range of motion. I might be moving the dumbbells or barbell 3 inches, 4 inches. So you have to work the extreme ends, meaning the contraction and the stretch. And that's the beauty of it. Most people are just doing this, and it's garbage with way too much weight. So, yeah, good luck. Can I start with biceps on a pull day to prioritize arms? I've always felt like this is a horrible idea because if you've ever went into a back session with sore biceps, you know how miserable that is. To me, I've always felt the same thing with biceps. And maybe I just have extremely tight fascia on my biceps, but when I get my biceps pumped, it's like this, I'm like T-Rex arms. It literally hurts. And a lot of times that's why you'll see me do triceps before biceps, is because when I finish biceps, I don't want to do anything else. And that's why I don't mind doing calves, because it's not a big deal. It's a lower body movement. But the idea of training heavy rows, heavy pull downs or pull ups after doing, say, 3 to 8 sets of biceps, that sounds like a horrible idea to me. I would never want to exhaust an accessory muscle before hitting a primary muscle, if that makes sense. So if you think about with your rows and your pull downs, no matter how hard you try to take your biceps out of it, it's still going to have some engagement and activation, and it's still going to contribute to a portion of the lift. So I don't want to purposely weaken it or exhaust it or fatigue it, however you want to look at that, before doing what I would consider a mass building exercise. If I want to prioritize arms, I would hit my full back day, but I would save some volume for 3 to 6 sets of biceps And then 3 to 4 days later, I would have a full-on arm day. So that's what I would do there, where it's just biceps and triceps. And if biceps are the body part you want to bring up, I would start the arm day with biceps and finish with triceps. What's the biggest thing holding most guys back from growth? If you asked me this a decade ago, my answer would be very different than now. But as of recent, what I'm seeing the most is just this over-analytical scalpel approach to bodybuilding. And it's obsessing about just minutia, like things that don't matter. Like, oh God, Cris, what is the perfect training split? I don't know. I don't know if there is one. What's the right rep range? 6 to 30. How many sets? I don't know. 6 to 20. So many people want the right answer that they'll obsess about pen and paper and writing these programs. And they just forget that like hard training and eating your meals is typically the answer. And then most people fall somewhere in the middle of those ranges that I just gave you for everything. And I've always encouraged my guys and girls to not be scared to experiment with things. Like, go in there and try a low volume training program. If it works, you grow, hell yeah, keep it up. If you aren't seeing the growth you feel like is adequate, increase the volume. If exercise sequence is something that you're just like, oh my God, I have to do this before that and this before that, and I need an RDL on back day, but what are I doing on leg day for hamstrings? It's like all these little things tend to just work themselves out if you just train hard and eat right. Like, don't forget the basics. That's something that I think I've always succeeded well at, is just the KISS method, right? Keep it simple, stupid. Like, that's why I kind of joke, like, even though I'm not a dumb meathead, that has helped me out more in bodybuilding than anything. Like, I always go back to basics. What feels great, what works well, and then double down on it. And if I do that, even though someone smarter than me may say it's the opposite, listen to my body and my instinct. It'll lead the way. And again, that's a problem that so many people have, is it's like information overload. And I think that's probably why I'm running into this problem or issue with more people. And it's not my clients. My clients hire me to take all the guesswork out of it. It's the people who just have just like questions in general for me who don't work with me, that I'm seeing this as like, it's too much thought. And I know that sounds silly, right? Because you would think more thought equals better results. And a lot of times you just get in your own way and you just overthink your way out of progress. And that's why I think if you look at someone like Sam Sulek, he's done so well, he's grown so well, he's turned pro, right? Like, he doesn't worry about the little things. It's check the big things off the box. Did I get enough protein for today? Yes. Did I get enough carbohydrates to fuel my workouts? Yes. Am I training to the point where the muscle is so pumped it hurts? Yes. Am I working out so hard that I'm profusely sweating? Yes. Am I getting stronger? Yes. Then I'm going to get bigger. So if you guys leave with anything today, that's the tenets from Cris. Stop overthinking, pick a path, attack it, and then adjust based upon your progress. So I really pray that you guys are liking these videos. This is the first vlog Q&A. That's just me talking head. And again, I have Jay, Dennis, and John watching over me here and leading the ship. So until next time, guys, like, share, subscribe. We just got over 70,000 subscribers, and that's a huge moment. I am 30K away from getting that first plaque that I'll hang probably right here, or maybe right there, or maybe right there. Haven't decided. But listen, in my mind, it's already, it's going to happen. I just have to keep going, keep pushing. And for all you guys, that's why I'm saying thank you to everyone who watches, shares, subscribes, and passes the word along to their friends. Because at the end of the day, like, the more people I reach, the more people I can help. And, again, this is a free resource, which is awesome, right? I wish I would have had this when I was 18, 19, 20 years old. I could log on and hear a veteran just rip through Q&A and answer a lot of the questions that I had that I couldn't necessarily find in a magazine or on the internet somewhere. So until next time, Cris on the CB.